If you have ever felt that your emotions show up uninvited in the most unuseful ways, it's not you. It's that no one has ever taught you this specific skill. My name is Dilan, I'm a psychologist and a coach, and in this episode we're gonna break down how emotions actually work, why we either feel overwhelmed or disconnected from them, and how we can finally move through them and master them. I just need you to understand one thing before we start. Your emotions, they're not reactions you cannot control. They are interpretations that your brain creates, and that just means that you can change how you experience them. This is what we're going to learn today, so buckle up and let's go. Let's start by talking about the real problem here. So what you and I have been taught was not emotional intelligence or just emotional knowledge, knowing how to talk about them, knowing how to feel them. What we have been taught is simply get over it. So whenever we feel emotional, just get over it. Or if we have to perform or succeed at something, we've been taught to push through it. So just go ahead, you have to perform, so that means there's no room for emotions right now. And the last thing that we get taught often is be positive. Stay positive. Look for the good stuff. Even if everything's burning right now, your life is completely in crumbles, be positive. Look for the good. Right? That's the things that we hear growing up when we talk about emotions. Now, if you don't connect to this, and if you're lucky enough to have had parents or other mentors in your life who have taught you some sorts of emotional intelligence, I congratulate you. Please keep that legacy going and keep teaching children how to actually be emotionally intelligent. And we're going to talk about this later on. But some of us, we didn't have that privilege. So I'm including all of you guys that feel like me, that have never been taught what emotional intelligence actually means. Now, this has led to two groups of people forming when it comes to emotions. You either overindulge in emotions, you drown in them, you feel like you're too emotional. Or for example, I know so many people that have been told this by their partners, by their friends, by their family, or by complete strangers, that they're too emotional. I mean, women hear this a lot, that we're too emotional, we talk too much and we're too emotional. And this is the type of people who feel like when an emotion hits, it could just run you over like a truck. It just floods over you and you have no possibility whatsoever to stop it or just like structure it and deal with it. That's one group of people. The others, they disconnect completely. So we see this a lot in people who tend to be in survival mode the whole time. So both of these people, their nervous systems are in survival mode the whole time. So it's not a healthy way to deal with emotions to either overindulge or to be disconnected from emotions completely, to tell yourself that you're not feeling anything, that you're just not a type of person who cries a lot. I mean, that's people who disconnect from their emotions, and both of these things are bad for you. They're unhealthy because your nervous system tries to survive and stays in that survival mode, which can lead to possible burnout or just too much stress on your body, making you feel exhausted and fatigued the whole time. It causes overthinking and staying in loops the whole time and not moving forward. So all of these things that we experience are symptoms because of emotional dysregulation, because our nervous system is not happy with the way we deal with emotions, because we simply don't know how to. The thing with emotional intelligence or emotional literacy is that it's not instinctive. It's built. We have to build it like we have to build every other habit or skill. And I always like to say, when people come to me in my coaching and just want to work on their emotions, they say, I'm too emotional, or they say, I don't feel anything. Where, I don't know, in a movie when everybody's crying, I'm the one who doesn't cry. I don't know why. I feel super disconnected from myself and my emotions. So these type of people often come to my coaching and just want to be normal. I always tell them, you're not bad at emotions. You just don't know yet how to speak their language, because they speak a completely different language. Quick interruption, I just wanted to let you know that I have a few spots open for my one-on-one coaching right now. So if you feel like you want support navigating your own human experience, there's a link in the description for a 15-minute discovery call with me. We meet, we talk, we see if coaching is the right next step for you. Now, let's jump right back into the episode. Now it's time to go a bit deeper and dig into science. So what does science say about emotions? And I have a very, very special theory with me for you today that not many people know. And if you do, I would love to connect and just talk about this because this is my favorite theory in psychology ever. So most people think, and most people have been thinking this for a long, long time, even researchers and the best psychologists in the field have been thinking this. Emotions are hardwired into our brains. They are reactions to things happening around us. That was a common theory. For example, somebody insults us, we react with anger. We lose something that's important to us, we react with sadness. Something good happens in our lives, we react with joy. And you can just go on and on about this. People have been thinking for a long time that emotions are just reflexes. They're built in and hardwired and mostly the same for every one of us if we're like in the same culture. So there are cultural differences in how we express emotions, but still, there was this belief that emotions are automatic, universal reactions. Now, science nowadays tells us otherwise. Lisa Feldman-Barrett firstly introduced this theory for us, I think in 2017, and she said that emotions are not pre-programmed into our brains. They are constructed. So our brains construct emotions based on three things. Number one is interoception. So it simply means that our brains use our bodily feelings, what happens inside of us, as a part of its formula to predict what's going to happen next. So we are in a situation and maybe we feel something tingling in our body. Everybody has a different signal, but at any point in time, we have a bodily reaction to what's happening around us. So interoception in this case just means what's happening inside of you. The second thing that our brain looks at when making this inside this formula is the context, so everything that is outside of us. Where are we? Have we been here before? Is there people around us? Do we know these people? Every stimulus that is outside of us in our context, in our environment, has been taken into consideration here. And number three is past experiences. So our brain digs up in our memory if we have ever experienced anything like this before. So our brain just looks through the library to see, have we ever experienced something like this before? How have we dealt with this before? Do we know anything about this specific situation? So we have interoception, context, and past experiences. This is our formula. And all of these things the brain takes in a split second, looks through all of these things, and then decides what reaction would be most fitting in that situation. So Lisa Feldman-Barrett proposes the theory that emotions are not automatic and universal and just happen. She proposes that our brain takes into consideration how we feel inside, what is happening outside, and our past experiences and memories in order to construct an emotion that would be best for us in that situation. Let's go about this a different way to even make it clearer. So I don't know if you know how vision works. So vision, what we see, works in the same way. Our brain takes light, shapes, contrast, and all of these information in, and then creates the experience of vision. This is how we see things because our brain automatically structures, and I'm looking around, our brain automatically structures it into light, shapes, objects we know, objects we have seen before. For example, this camera, I know what a camera looks like because I have past experience and memories of a camera. From the first time my parents showed me, look, this is the camera, everything's like consolidated in my memory. So this is how vision works. And our emotions work the same way. Our brain just takes in a whole lot of information inside and outside of us and the past experiences to create an emotion. Do you know what this means? This is amazing to me because when I heard of this the first time, it means our brain just interprets the situation and constructs an emotion. That means, it's a stretch, but it means that if we train our brains to interpret situations differently, we can construct a different emotion than we used to. Let that sink in. I'm gonna give you an example here to make this even more clear. I was on a stage a couple months ago and giving my first keynote as a speaker. And it was on the topic of resilience, how you can be more resilient in life. And I was on stage, I was doing my thing, there were like 100 people, I had a mic, I felt very professional, I had the time of my life. Now, after I was done, some people asked me, oh my God, weren't you like scared? Didn't you fear like what they thought about you? Or people just suggested and kept asking me if I wasn't scared. And then I was like reflecting on this and I thought about it and I even Googled it. I feel like, I'm not sure, I have to check up on this information, so don't come for me. But I feel like the fear of being on stage and talking in front of a large group of people is one of the biggest fears there is out there. Like people are so scared to talk openly in front of people. It's a thing. So I was wondering, why wasn't I scared? Wouldn't it be normal to be scared in that moment? So I was reflecting back on how I felt, and then I could reconstruct how I felt in that moment. And I did feel my palms were getting sweaty. I did feel like a thing in my stomach. I couldn't quite understand what it was. Like I felt like something was going on. I had bodily sensations that I don't normally have because this is not a normal situation for me to go on stage. It was my first time as well. So I did feel something. I just didn't think of it as fear. I thought of it as a mixture of, I was nervous, but I was excited as well. I was so excited. I had this on my vision board for 2025, and I actually reached it in the first 3 months. So for me, that was like on the top of my brain, the excitement of reaching one of my goals that I set for myself. So that, just to sum this example up, what I'm talking about is when I was on stage that day, I felt something, and I could even name it. It was a mixture of being nervous and excited, but it was not fear. But somebody else in my shoes, who didn't have that on his or her vision board, but still ended up being on stage and talking about something, they would feel scared. So this could be your proof that emotions are not universal depending on the situations we are in. Me and you, we have different emotions. We create different emotions in the same situations. You can even comment down below, how would you feel? What emotion would you create when you were on stage right now? For me, it would be excitement. I would love that, honestly. Just somebody give me a stage and a mic and I'll talk for hours. But it's different for everybody because our brains take into consideration the information it has and creates an emotion that is fitting. For me, excitement was fitting because I made that vision board and I had that goal of being on stage. So it was just fitting in that moment. Now, let me tell you why this changes everything if you let it. This theory of constructed emotions by Lisa Feldman Barrett shows you that emotions are not objective truths. So every time you feel something that seems to be an emotion, a feeling, whatever you want to call it, you can now know that it's not an objective truth. It's not a fact. It is a guess your brain makes based on the information it has been given. So your brain takes into consideration, I'm repeating myself, how you feel on the inside, what is happening on the outside, and if you've ever had like experiences on this before. And it takes this into consideration and makes a guess what emotion would fit you best. Now, what you also need to know, and if you don't know this, you have to watch my previous videos or episodes because I explained this in detail. Your brain has one goal, and that is for you to survive. So you have to understand that your brain gives you the emotions, even if they feel unfitting for you, even if they feel like you don't, like if you don't want them in that moment, you feel like you are maybe angry because you felt sad instead of having a different emotion. So even if it doesn't correspond to what you want to feel, your brain gives you that emotion because it feels like it's the best thing for you right now in order to survive. So you have to know that your brain is there to help you. And it's not going to choose the best way to do that every single time, because what your brain also does is it's always in energy saving mode. It wants to save as much energy as possible, meaning It doesn't want to think too much about it. It doesn't want to take the information into consideration twice or 3 times. No, it makes a choice, it generates the emotion, and it's done. You survive. And this also means that you can train your brain to create different emotions, to create emotions you would rather like to have. And this is amazing because it just takes a little bit of skill and training with everything else. It's the same with everything else. You just need to train your brain to interpret the situation differently. How can you do that? Now, here are 3 things that you can do in order to train your brain to create different emotions and to interpret situations differently. Number 1 is to expand your emotional vocabulary. That is, in big terms, that is called emotional granularity. And it basically means that you can imagine you have a dictionary of emotions in your head. So you have a dictionary of words that you use to describe your feelings or emotions. Meaning some people literally know 2 words, and that's good and bad. I feel good, I feel bad. That's not good. Some people know more than 2 words, and they're like, okay, I feel anxious, I feel scared, I feel good, I feel joyful, I feel sad. So they have more words. And then there's people that have many words, and those other people, and science can show this, that live a better life emotionally, meaning they don't feel overwhelmed by their emotions anymore because they know what they are. So these people know what they are feeling at all times because they have labels for it. And it can be as easy as just looking up what words there are out there for emotions. It means having conversations with people about emotions and learning how they experience them. How do your friends feel when their day goes bad? What words do they use? Try to really look for different type of words to expand your vocabulary. And I could show you a couple theories out there or models out there. There are a lot of different things out there where you can look for predefined emotional labels. So there are people who have put very many hours of work into this to find good words fitting your emotion. But honestly, for me, that has never worked. I never like to use other people's words. So for me, what has helped has literally been journaling. And I know not many people like that or do that because they feel like I can't be consistent journaling every day, or I don't know what to write, or I don't know what type of journal works best, and they keep overthinking it. But for me, I take a notebook, it's empty, I take a pen that I like, and I just write. So you don't have to overthink it. You can just write what you feel, and even when you're a more creative person, come up with names for your emotions. You can call them whatever you want. There is free will out there, if you haven't noticed. You can decide what to call your emotions. It's just important to have more words than 2 or 5 for your emotional state. So be specific, give each emotion you have a different word, and also be aware that fear is not always fear. There's different types of fear, there's different types of anger. You can even scale them. That's what I do in coaching sessions. I always ask my clients to scale their emotions. And the scale I like to use goes from -10 to -10 to +10. So -10 plus 10, and the 0 is neutral. And then I tell them to scale their anger. How much you feel it. -10 would be so angry, my blood is boiling, and +10 would be joyful, I guess, not angry at all. I haven't thought this through, but most people do -4, -3, and then it's easier if you have a negative and positive scale. So even use scales, use numbers, use just anything that can make it specific, because your brain likes this type of information. And if you have a lot of information on these emotions that are very hard to grasp otherwise, your brain can regulate them better. Number 2 is you gotta learn how to interpret your bodily signals differently. Meaning, that's 2 steps. Step number 1 is to actually look out for your signals. So what happens when you are in an emotional state? Is your heart racing? Are you sweating? Are you getting warm? Are you getting cold? What does your body do when you feel emotional? First, you have to realize what's happening. And then the second step is to reinterpret, reframe what's happening. For example, if your heart is pounding, don't immediately go to fear. You don't have to be fearful, scared, or angry when your heart is pounding. It could have different reasons. For example, my stomach used to ache when I felt super emotional, like when I had a negative emotion, and I then learned that when my stomach hurts, I must be emotional. But that wasn't the case. My stomach hurts when I ate something bad as well, or when I'm hungry, or it could have 100 different reasons. So you have to really second guess your body. First notice it, then second guess it. Is it always emotional? Is there always an emotional root for this? Or could it be anything else, literally anything else? So really try to focus on what's happening inside of your body, because as you know now, your brain will take this into consideration when creating an emotion. So when you learn my heart racing does not always have to mean I'm scared. It could always mean I'm excited, or I just walked up the stairs, so that's why my heart is racing. Your brain does not automatically go to fear, but rather thinks twice about what emotion to create. And number 3 is to actually go out and experience new things, to create new emotional experiences, and this will rewire your prediction system. So now you know creating an emotion is a prediction system. Your brain just uses past experiences and then predicts what's going to happen next, because maybe you have been in that situation before, so your brain knows what to do. And if you want to rewire that and change that, you have to go out and make new emotional experiences. So step out of your comfort zone and get all these new data, because new data means that your brain has more experiences to choose from, right? So if you do something you've never done before, it creates a new memory in your library, and your brain can use that in order to create a new emotion or a different one. If you have like 5 core memories, and your brain only uses these memories, and all of them are bad memories, like you have been crying, the one time you've been hungry, and then you were angry, whatever it is, you only have these 5 core memories and your brain keeps using them, of course all of your emotions are going to be negative, because your brain has nothing else to choose from. So go out, make new experiences, make good experiences, create nice and joyful memories, so your brain can choose these for the next time when it creates an emotion. Now that you know that emotions work this way, and you have this theory, you know what to do in order to rewire your brain to give you new and better emotions, I want to make like one quick last statement. So there are going to be some objections out there. Some people are going to say, yeah, but sometimes I feel so emotional that I cannot think clearly, and I cannot do anything about it, and I just like lay down and cry. And I just want to normalize that, because it's okay to feel super emotional. It's okay to feel paralyzed by your emotions, because sometimes things happen. Like you can have big losses in your life, for example. Everybody experiences that. And that is not something you can just, I don't want you to push that away and exchange that for joyful memories or whatever. I want you to know that it is normal to be super emotional, that it is normal to feel overrun by certain emotions in very, very heavy situations like these, like loss, for example. So I don't want people to think they need to control their emotions at all times. I just want you to know how it works in your brain, so you can use this stuff I'm telling you, use science in order to make your normal life, your everyday, day-to-day life, better for yourself. But know that there's always going to be a day at some point that's going to be shit. And these days make you resilient. They make you strong. And sometimes we just have to endure them. So there's no, I'm nobody who says like good vibes only. I'm like, no, that's not realistic. There are going to be bad vibes. So don't get the wrong idea here. Just know and remember this: emotions, they're not the bad guys. They're not the villains. They're just data carriers. They just carry information. They're just messengers, basically. And they are not the problem. The problem is if we suppress them, if we ignore them, if we avoid them, and if we think of them as the problem. That is the actual problem. So just let your emotions in, let them do their job, which is basically through the brain. They want to help us survive. They want to help us live the best life ever. So we have to work with them and not against them. And with that, I want to thank you so much for being here. Write down all your questions or DM me, message me as always, send me an email, whatever. If you have any questions, please let me know. I love to talk about this stuff, as you know, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.